So inshallah today we will go through Surah Al-Fatiha and take all the words that have Alif and Lam on them and strip them of the Alif and Lam and then put them back and reconstruct them and see what's happening. Also words that do not have Alif and Lam but they can have Alif and Lam, we will put that on them so we can learn those vocabulary inshallah. So let's take the first one. The first word is Ilah. Ilahun. Is that big enough where you can read it? I'll make it bigger. Ilahun. So we have a kasra under the hamza, I. On the lam there's supposed to be an alif, but I don't know how to write it on the keyboard. And tanween on the ha, ilahun. And this means a God. And like I said, that's linguistically speaking. Now, when you put alif and lam on this, this is what you get. You get alif, lam, and then that hamza is dropped. This is just for the word Allah. You put another lam, and then you put the ha. Allahu. Allahu. Of course, this linguistically, with this analysis, means the God. So that's the word Allah comes from the word ilah. Ilahun. And then when you put alif and lam, you get al-ilahu. And then the hamza is dropped and it becomes Allahu. That one is a little bit technical. And that's according to the opinion of some of the scholars. There are others who believe that the word Allah is built like that. It's not derived. So to say that the word Allah is derived from the word ilah and you put alif and lam in front of it is one opinion. The other opinion is that it's built like that. The next word we have is Rahman or Ar-Rahman. So we'll put the word Rahman, Ra, Ra, Ha, Mim, Noon, Rahman. So we put Fatha, Sukoon on the Ha, Alif above the Mim, and Tanween, Rahmanun. And this would mean merciful. Now when we put alif and lam on that, what would we get? Who would help me? We put alif, lam, ra, ha, mim, noon. So would we say al, rah, ma, nu? Would we say that? Are you all here with me? Is that correct? Why not? Why not? Why don't we put a sukoon on the lam? Because the ra is a sun letter. See that ra is a sun letter. So you have to put a shadda on the ra and say Ar-Rahmanu. Now of course in the ayah it says Ar-Rahmani. Why did it say Ar-Rahmani in the ayah instead of Ar-Rahmanu? Why is there a kasra on that noon? It's because of grammar rules, but we're not going to study that right now. That's too complex right now. The reason why we put a kasra on that noon is because this ha has a noon, kasra. Why did we put a kasra on this ha? Because it's what we call possessed. Or excuse me, the possessor, Ismullahi. That's possession, but that don't worry about that. And here it's because it's badal or sifa, badal. In any event, just wanted to draw your attention, instead of dhamma on the noon, we have a kasra. And of course, that means the merciful. Ar-Rahim. If we were to look at the word, so the next word is, we already did Allahu, we did Ar-Rahmani, now we're doing Ar-Rahim. I'll explain to you something in a minute that has not much to do with this lesson, but I want you to understand it. So now we'll put the word Ar-Rahim. Alif, Rahim first. Ra, Ha, Ya, Mim. And we'll put, what vowel do we put on the Ra? Are you all here with me? Fatha, Ra. On the Ha, Kasra. On the Ya, Sukoon. On the Mim, Tanween. Rahimun. This also means merciful. So when we put Alif and Lam and Rahim, it would be the same thing. We will say Alif, Lam, Ra, Ha, Ya, Mim. But this time we know on the Ra we will put a Shadda. Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahimu. That's originally how it should be. But in the ayah it says Ar-Rahimi. And why is that? Because it's a substitute for the word Allah. And that's Arabic grammar. You'd learn that when we do more grammar. What we're doing is grammar now also, but it's a different rule. So that's the word Ar-Rahim. And of course that means the merciful also. Now, somebody may ask, what's the difference between Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim? Both of them mean the same thing. Well, we use different words to make you think they're different meanings. The meaning is different in a different way. And I thought I explained that before. Maybe some other time. Now, the next word that has Alif and Lam is Alhamdu. So we have here Alhamdu. So let's strip the Alif and Lam and we say Hamdun. Hamdun. And we put a Fatha on the Ha, we say Ha. Sukoon on the Mim, Ham. Tanween, Dhamma on the Dal, and we say Dun, Hamdun. Hamdun means praise. P-R-A-I-S-E, praise. Okay, if you want to say the praise, what would you say? Who would help me with this? Alhamdu. And that's exactly how we say it in the surah. Al-Hamdu. So on the Lam we put a Sukoon. On the Ha we put a Fatha. On the Mim, Sukoon, and Dal, one Dhamma. And if you notice, I'll translate that, the praise. And if you notice in Surah Al-Fatiha, it's just like that, Alhamdu. It was not changed to a Kasra or a Fatha on the Dal. It remained the same, Alhamdu. Why? Because there was no reason to change it. It's what we call Mubtada, the first word in nominal sentence that you start with, and it would have Dhamma. And that's a grammar rule also. There is a grammar rule why this Dhamma is retained. Lillahi, same thing, like before. The word Rabb. Who knows what the word Rabb means? No. Means Lord. The word Rabb means, actually linguistically, it means anyone who will take care of you. That's why you call the man Rabbul Bayt. You also call the woman Rabbatul Bayt. In Quran, Allah says in Surah Yusuf, on the tongue of Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, Irja' ila rabbika return to your Lord. What he meant is the king, because the king was the Rabb of this person. So the word the Rabb means anyone who cared for that person or thing. But Allah is Rabbul Alameen. He's the only one who has that description. So if you take the word Rabb and we say Ra, Ba, and we put a Fatha on the Ra, Shadda on the Ba, and Tanween. Rabbun. This means a Lord. Now if we want to say the Lord, how would we say that? We would put Alif and Lam, put the Ra and put the Ba, and then we would not pronounce the Lam. We don't put Sukoon there. Why? Because Ra is a sun letter, so we put Shadda. Ar-Rabbu. Ar-Rabbu. Now that's not the way it is in this ayah. In this ayah it says Rabbi. Why? Because of what we call possession. So that's a grammar rule you learn later. But if you wanted to say the Lord, you would say Ar-Rabbu. You can say Allahu Ar-Rabbu. Allah is the Rabb. Let's look at the word Al-Alameen. Al-Alameen. Now this one is a little complex also, but we will understand it or learn it. Let's take the word Alameen. A-la-meen. We have a Fatha on the Ain. A. Fatha on the Lam. Kasra on the Mim. Sukoon on the Ya. Fatha on the Noon. Alameen. This means worlds. Worlds. How many worlds you know? Because we use the word world for a different meaning than this ayah uses it. Better translation probably species or kind. Every alam, every group that identifies as a group is called an alam in Arabic. So if you want to say the worlds, you would say Al. Alif, Lam, Ain, Alif, Lam, Mim, Ya, Noon. And we would say Al, A, La, Mi, Na. Now why did we pronounce the Lam here? Why did we use the Lam? Huh? Because, well, not because there's no Ra, because Ain is a moon letter. It's not only for Ra. The sun letters are how many? 14. So Ra is just one of them. There are 13 more. But we had many examples with Ra. And the same here, Ar-Rahman, same rule applies. Ar-Rahim, same thing. Malik. Malik. Let's take the word Malik. Malik means what? No. Malik means what? They translate as master. It's actually the word is translated as master as Malik. Malik. Malikun. No, Malik is king or master. Malik is owner. For example, you say, this is a phone, أنا مالك هذا الهاتف. I am the owner of this phone. Malik means to own. Malikun means owner. If you want to say the owner, Manil Malik, who is the owner? You would say Alif, Lam, Mim, Alif, Lam, Kaf. Put a sukoon on the lam, fatha on the mim, kasra on this lam, and one dhamma here. Al-Maliku. Al-Maliku. What would that mean? The owner. Al-Maliku. Okay, let's take another word. Yawm. What does the word yawm mean? Day. So let's put the word here. Yawm. Ya with fatha ya. Waw with sukoon yaw. Mun means a day. How would we say the day? Al yaw mu. Al yaw mu. Are you all following? Okay. This is the day. Al-yawmu. Al-yawmu yawmul ahad. That means today is Sunday. Al-yawm means the day or today. Yawmul ahad is the first day of the week. Yawmul ahad. Al-yawmu. Allah says, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. Today. Okay, let's take the next word. Ad-deen. So let's strip the alif and lam and write the word deen. What does the word deen mean?
Religion. Islam.
That's one of the meaning. Well, not only Islam. You can say Deenul Yahud al-Yahudiyya. So religion. Deenul Nasraniyin or Nasara and Nasraniyya. Deen means religion. So if you want to say the religion, what would you say?
Ad-deen.
Alif, Lam, Dal, Ya, Noon. And we say Al, Di, Nu. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct? Al, Di, Nu.
No.
What is wrong with it?
Because the dal is a sun letter.
So Dal is a sun letter, so we have to put a shadda on the Dal. Gotta pay attention to that. And of course, there is no sukoon here. You can't pronounce both the lam and the letter. So we say ad-deenu, deenu, which would mean the. Ad-deenu. So we're going through Surah Al-Fatiha pretty fast, all the words. Iyaka. Can we do that and say al-iyaka? No, because it's not ism. It's not a noun as such. There are three kinds of words in Arabic. They're what we call asma, af'al, and huruf. Cannot put al on that. Na'budu, that's a verb. You cannot put it on that too. You cannot say al na'budu, the we worship. Same for wa, same for iyaka, same for nasta'in. So this whole ayah here has no word that we can use to put alif and lam on that. None of those words would accept alif and lam. Ihdina, that's a verb also. Cannot put alif and lam on that. But we have the word as-sirat already has alif and lam. So let's strip it of alif and lam. What is this? Where am I? Sad, Sad, Ra, Alif, Ta. We put a kasra on the Sad and we say Si. Fatha on the Ra with the Alif, Ra, Tun. هذا صراط عليك مستقيم. هذا صراط. What does صراط mean? A path. صراط. So now we put alif and lam. What would we say? Alif, lam, sad, ra, alif, ta. And we say al, si, ra, tu. Is that correct?
No.
Why not?
Because the sod is a sun letter.
Sad is a sun letter, so you have to put a shadda. And we say as-sirat instead of al-sirat. And that's why we say in Quran ihdinas sirat, and we do not say ihdinal sirat. Why is there a fatha on the ta? Do you notice there's fatha here? And here we put a dhamma. Because originally, when the word is on its own, it has a dhamma. For you to change that dhamma to a fatha, you need to have a good reason. And the reason here is because it's the object of the verb, or actually the second object. There are two objects of this verb. Ihdi is the verb, guide. Na, us, that's the first object. As-sirat is the second. What does it mean, object? What does it mean? Allah bless your precious little soul. Yeah. So as-sirat, as-siratu. But in this ayah we say as-sirata. The path. So go ahead and write that in. The path. Inshallah, that rule, we would learn that in its own time. Next word, al-mustaqim. Al-mustaqim. So we take that word and we're going to write it here. Alright? Alif. Tell me what to say next. What letter? Lam. What next? Mim. Sin. Ta. Qaf. Ya. Mim. Okay? And of course, what would we do? Would we put a sukoon on the lam or a shadda on the mim? Do you think we should put a shadda on the mim? No. Because mim is a moon letter. Al, mus, ta, qi, mu. Al mustaqimu, which means, okay, we didn't write it without the alif and lam. We forgot that part. Mustaqimun, al-mustaqimu. Straight. And this is the. Straight. Now this is strange for English speaking people. The word straight is what? Is it a noun? What is it? What part of speech is straight? It's an adjective because it describes the path. But adjectives or sifat are considered asma in Arabic. So it's not only nouns. Al-mustaqim. But here we say al-mustaqimah. Did you see that? Fatha on the mim. Why did it change to fatha? Why did it change from dhamma, which is the original? Here, al-mustaqimu, it's originally a dhamma. That is how it should be. But why did it change to fatha? Because this word al-mustaqim describes a word that has fatha at the ending. And the adjective has to be just like the noun that it describes. But that's more rules we'll find out in Arabic language as we go along. So I'm just giving you a little glimpse into some of the rules, but don't worry about them. Sirat, this is just like this here, without the alif and lam. Alladhina. Alladhina is a special word, we'll skip that. An'amta, verb. Alayhim is a harf. غيري غيري الغير, you can do that, but we'll skip that, not used. المغضوب, مغضوب, let's write that word. مغ, ميم, غين, ضاد, واو, با. What does the word مغضوب mean? ميم سكون غين مغ, ضاد with ضمة ضو, واو ضو, بن. What does the word مغضوب mean? Okay, I'll tell you what it means, but it's hard to write it in English or say it in English. Someone you're angry with. Al-Maghdub, Al-Maghdubu alayh, the one you were angry with. Maghdubun alayh, angry with. Yeah. So you have to put alayh, but we're going to leave that out. Angry with. Not the one who's angry. It's the one you are angry, the object of the anger. So when we put alif and lam, what do we write? Alif, lam, mim, ghain, dad, waw, and ba. And we say al maghdubu. Al maghdubu, the one you are angry with. The one that one is angry with. That's a lot. It's a mouthful. The one that one is angry with. It's called al-maghdub. Here we say al-maghdubu, which is the original. When you have words or asma in Arabic language, you always start off by putting a dhamma on the ending of the word, if it has alif and lam, or two dhamma if it doesn't. So hopefully you're learning that rule right now. Let me highlight that rule for you. So if you look at all these words, we put tanween dhamma when it doesn't have alif and lam. Ilahun, al-ilahu, we drop the tanween. Rahmanun, ar-rahmanu, that originally a dhamma. Rahimun, ar-rahimu, that's originally. See that tanween? No tanween. Hamdun, alhamdu. Rabbun, ar-rabbu. Alamina, al-alamina, that's different. Malikun, al-maliku. Yawmun, al-yawmu. So when it does not have alif and lam, you put tanween. When it has alif and lam, you do not put tanween. Dinun, ad-dinu. Siratun, as-siratu. Mustaqimun, al-mustaqimu, maghdubun, al-maghdubu. So observe that rule. The origin for an ism, that's one part of speech, generally nouns. In Arabic language, you put tanween dhamma if there is no alif and lam, and then a single dhamma if there is alif and lam. For you to change this dhamma to something else, you need to have a reason. So if we look at Surah Al-Fatiha, it says Al-Maghdubi instead of Al-Maghdubu. Why is that so? Because it's what we call mudafun ilayh. Mudafun ilayhi. It's because of this word here being in what we call possessive case. But don't worry about that. We'll learn that later on. Alayhim waladdallin. So let's write the word ad-dallin. We'll write without the alif and lam first. Dal, loon. Da, and then a shadda on the lam. Dal, and then lu, na. Daluna. Daluna mean those that are lost. Those that are lost, we call them Dallun. Because of a grammar rule, it was changed to Dallin. Because of a grammar rule, we change it to Dallin. What's the grammar rule? وَلَا الضَّالِينَ غَيْرَ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ غَيْرَ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِينَ وَلَا صِرَاطِ الضَّالِينَ. So it's mudafun ilayh. Because of possession also. So, because of a grammar rule, it was changed to dal leen. Means the same thing. And then we put alif and lam. We can put alif and lam in both of them for you to see. Alif lam, dad, alif lam, waw, noon. Ad-dalun, and then we'll just put ad-dal-leen. So do we say al, dal, daluna, do we say al daluna? Why not? Come on. Because Dad is a sun letter. Let's do a quick thing. What are the sun letters and what are the moon letters? How many letters we have in all in the Arabic alphabet? 28. How many are sun? 14. How many are moon? 14. Half and half. Okay. So how do we identify which are which? I'll give you an easy formula. Remember that? An easy formula. If we were to go and open up back this document here, where's lesson 1? Can't find lesson 1. Is it in lesson sun letters and moon letters? Okay, it's in here. So we have from dal to dha. See that? So just read all the letters from dal to dha. Let's go through them. Dal, zal, ra, zai, Seen, Sheen, Sod, Dod, Ta, Za. How many are those? 10.
10.
Those are 10 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 2 of them before. Ta and Tha. And 2 after.
Lam and Noon.
Lam and Noon. That's how you remember the sun letters, from Del to Za, and then Ta and Tha, and Lam and Noon. What are the moon letters? All the rest. So just say the alphabet, and when you hit a sun letter, don't write it, put the rest. So we will end up with Hamza, Ba, Jim, Ha, Kha, Ain, Ghain, Fa, Qaf, Kaf, Mim, Waw, Ha, and Ya. And what's going to happen is when a person learns the Arabic language and you speak it naturally, you would know to put in that shadda and not to put a sukoon. It comes naturally after a while. We say ab, da, dal, li, na, ad-dalina. And that means those that are lost also. Means pretty much the same thing. And that is Surah Al-Fatiha. That is Surah Al-Fatiha. If we were to go over back quickly, we will find these are all the words that are asma, that you can put alif and lam on them. Actually, there's one that we missed. Why did I not notice that? So let's add that on. Ism. We can also put on the word ismun. And normally you would not write in that kasra, so I would leave it out. Ismun. Ismun means what?
A name.
A name or name. Yeah, a name. How would you say the name? Let's put that in. Alif, lam, alif, seen, meme. This here is kind of technical, and most people don't know this. So I'm going to teach you something now most people don't know. Okay? You're going to be a privileged little bunch. Al ismu. Al ismu. But this is not correct. So you probably want to know if it's not correct, what am I doing telling you it? Here what would happen. This lamb would steal that kasra from the hamza. See this lamb with the sukoon? This lamb says to the hamza, give me that kasra. Because this hamza is hamzatul wasl. So you don't pronounce it unless you begin with it. So what it would do, we would say, instead of putting sukoon there, we put a kasra. And on the hamza, nothing. Oops. Undo that. On the hamza, nothing. And we say alismu. Did you hear that? Say that. Alismu. Lismu, not ismu. Yeah. And that, my friend, is privileged information. The name. Alismu. Did you know that? Huh? I'll show you that in Quran so that you learn as an example. If we go to Quran and we go to Surah Al-Hujurat. We go to verse Bi'sa. I'll make this bigger so you all can read. Guess that's the biggest it would be made there. I'll make it bigger here. We say Say that. Bi sa lismul. We don't say bi sal ismul. That's wrong. Bi sa lismul. See that? بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان. So we go back to Surah Al-Fatiha and we look at all those words once again. We have here ismun, ismun. We put alif and lam and we get alismu, alismu. The word Allah, we have ilahun, and then when you put alif and lam it becomes al-ilahu. Let me write in that step there. I'll write in that step al-ilahu. Al-ilahu. And then we drop that hamza and it becomes Allahu. That's one opinion. That's one opinion. Remember that. If you say to somebody, the word Allah is originally from ilah, and then you add alif and lam, and they say to you, no. Say, okay, that's your opinion. That's one opinion, okay? So there are two opinions concerning the word Allah. That it's built like that, and one that it's derived. Then the next word we have is Ar-Rahman. So we say Rahmanun, Ar-Rahmanu, Rahimun, Ar-Rahimu, Hamdun, Al-Hamdu, Rabbun, Ar-Rabbu, Alamina, Al-Alamina. And the same for Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Rahmanun, Ar-Rahmanu, Rahimun, Ar-Rahimu, Malikun, Al-Maliku, Yawmun, Al-Yawmu, Dinun, Ad-Dinu. This ayah has no word that you can use. Siratun, As-Siratu, Mustaqimun, Al-Mustaqimu, Siratun, As-Siratu, Maghdubun, Al-Maghdubu, Dallina, originally Dalluna, Ad-Dalluna, Dallina, Ad-Dallina. And those are all here for you. And that's Surah Al-Fatiha applying. So this is applied grammar. So the grammar rule we've learned so far is very, very basic. It's how to put alif and lam on an ism. And when you do it, what happens? And now we applied it to Surah Al-Fatiha, inshallah. We'll stop here and continue next week with a different grammar rule. But I would like to ask you, if you don't mind, if you want an exercise, go to Surah Al-Nas and then perhaps Surah Al-Falaq and look for words that you can extract. For example, I'm just going to run through it real quickly. Rabbun ar-Rabbu, Nasun al-Nasu, Malikun al-Maliku. Same thing on Nas. Ilahun al-Ilahu, Sharrun al-Sharru, Waswasun al-Waswasu, Khannasun al-Khannasu, Sudurun al-Suduru, Jinnatun al-Jinnatu. And those are the words in Surah Al-Nas. And if you can write those down, you get an exercise that way and familiarize yourself with those vocabulary. One of the goals of these lessons is to teach you vocabulary at the same time. So not only are you applying alif and lam, but you're learning vocabulary. وَجَزَاكُمُ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا.